We have a question from Commissioner Ransall.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, Ms. Wagner, I do have a question. You alluded to it there at the very end of whether or not the community wants TGW to stay. And I received an email the other day that basically said that the economic incentives offered by Indiana were a lot more than here, but one of the biggest factors was they wanted to know that the community wanted them to stay here. Is that correct?
I think in any project that we're evaluating, I think the company's receptiveness, that's one of those qualitative factors. I think that it's important to any company. Is it the only decision? No, but I think it is important.
Is there any way that this community or this commission can demonstrate the fact that it wants us, that we want TGW to stay, other than just giving them money?
I would have to defer to the company.
I mean, we could pass a resolution stating that we support TGW, want them to stay. We could make it TGW week or TGW month or something to demonstrate that we in fact do want them to stay. The point I'm trying to make is this: we're being asked to demonstrate that we want them to stay, that we care, by giving them somebody else's money.
Well, I think it goes beyond that. I think there are a number of factors, and as we talked about before, the Golf Warehouse, it was started here by local entrepreneurs, and the company was acquired in 2006, and the company is being evaluated by a board of directors that are not local. And so for the board of directors to substantiate a decision where in one area they're being offered a significant amount of money and in another area they're not, I think that's a difficult position to put the local company in terms of making a recommendation. So I would offer that.
Well, thank you. So let me further comment. In my mind, like I say, we're being asked to give this company and demonstrate that we want them to stay by giving them taxpayer money, somebody else's money. And that's why I cannot support this project. I think we need to be very careful, and businesses need to think about this. If just because a politician is willing to give you somebody else's money doesn't mean they care. Do they care enough to go down and meet you and see your business and ask questions and see what it's all about? Or are they only willing to demonstrate that they care and want you here by sitting in their office, look at a piece of paper, see the WSU computer numbers are happy, and yes, I'll give you somebody else's money. Now, if I'm willing to show my concern for a company by giving them somebody else's money, what does that say about how I feel about the people I'm taking the money from? Do I care about them? To me, it shows a lack of respect for them, their hard work, their efforts. But I'm willing to say, hey, yeah, you worked hard for that money, but I think someone else deserves it more than you, and so I'm going to use my position to redistribute your wealth. I can't do that. Now, I did go down and see TGW, and they are impressive. I really enjoyed my tour. They're smart people. They're expanding during this time of economic difficulties. That's because they know what they're doing. They've streamlined everything. They're truly committed to meeting the customers and providing good service. It's a tremendous company. Of course I want them to stay here. They're so good, in fact, I'm convinced that they can do it without taxpayer money. They've gotten this far without it. I think that they could do it without taxpayer money, and I would ask them to do so. My opposition to that, to this particular incentive for $48,000, has nothing to do with my impressions or my desire to have TGW stay here. It's more fundamentally that I also care about my citizens and about this county, and we're struggling, so we're going to give up $48,000 while we are cutting services, they are expanding. I can't justify that. I also want to bring up a point today that in today's paper we see that the Plainview grocery store is now going to be on. Now, they had asked for taxpayer money, $900,000 in forms of TIFs and CIDs last year, and this commission had the courage to say no. Now, they were criticized for that decision, but guess what? Plainview re-examined the numbers. They like what they saw. They're not going to be asking for subsidies. This project will stand on its own without subsidies. And not only that, the building is going to be 25% larger than the original proposal. What this tells me, businesses can and will expand and grow, and new businesses will start without taxpayer subsidies, and that's the way it should be. We cannot, our way to prosperity is not by redistributing the wealth from one group of citizens to another. And so, despite my impressions of TDW and how good of a business they have, and I truly do wish and hope they continue to exceed and expand, I cannot support this for those fundamental reasons. And I would ask this commission to remember that the past commission had the courage to say no. At some point, we need to have that same courage and allow the free markets to work and realize the businesses and expansion will happen. Now, there are some people who simply will not operate without government subsidies because they just don't know how to do it. But this is proof today that it can happen. You just have to be willing to say no. And like I said, I wish TDW the best, and I'm glad that they're here, but I will oppose this particular subsidies. Thank you.
Thank-
No comment at this time.
Okay.